Update. My parents want to give my sister the earrings my grandma left to me. Original post. This story is so weird. When I, 27 female, was 20 years old, I was in a relationship/friends with benefit situation with a guy, now 40 male. It was messy. We were on and off for almost 5 years. He was always clear he wasn't ready for a relationship, and I was always clear I was madly in love with him. Every time I got tired of the situation and wanted to leave, somehow he'd convince me to stay. Because love is free, we have so much time together, he wasn't ready to commitment. I asked my sister for advice, now 42 female, and she gave me some crappy advice. Like make him compromise, leave stuff at his place, and basically turn him into a boyfriend until it was too late to him to say no. I never managed to do that because I wanted him to love me as much as I loved him, not trap him. The last night I spent at his place, he said he wanted to try something more serious with me. Talked about some dates he planned, etc., only to ghost me forever. It was hard. This was the first person I loved, and he treated me like crap. 6 months passed and my sister came home. We both lived with our parents, saying she wanted to introduce her brand new boyfriend. She had to have a ton of boyfriends, but she said this was the one. It was a dinner only with my parents at our home. So I was excluded and expected to just go out or chill in my room. The day came, and while they were dining, I ordered a pizza. I went downstairs only to find a guy I was with 6 months prior dining with my parents and sister. I was shocked, but paid for my pizza and went to my room again to cry. After dinner was over, I confronted my sister in front of our parents and begged her to not be with him, to be loyal to me, her little sister. There's no way she didn't know who he was. I had showed her pictures of him, his social media, where he worked, and she even knew where he lived. They never met because he didn't want to meet my family and never introduced his. But she knew who he was, and she excluded me from that dinner because she knew. She said they met by chance after we stopped seeing each other. She knew how hard his disappearance was for me. She knew how painful it was to not have even a closure. He just stopped replying. Not even blocking me, just left me there wondering after 5 years. She knew that during those 6 months, I was still hurting. I know how it was my fault. I was too naive and thought that if I stayed long enough, he would be ready for the relationship I wanted and would learn to love me. Stupid, I know. She defended herself, saying it was a coincidence and the chemistry was there. She loved him, and she wasn't going to lose the love of her life. This stuff only happens once in a lifetime. When I was in my early 20s, I would believe that. However, now, I know that there are 8 billion people in this world. There's no one love of your life. You can find a love of your life multiple times if you look for it. My parents sided with her and said I should get over it since we never have a real relationship. 1.5 years have passed. I've been excluded from multiple family gatherings because he would be around, and my family thinks I will bring negative vibes, since I'm still bitter about everything. I have no feelings for him, but I feel betrayed by my sister and my parents. He is just POS in my eyes now. My sister is now 6 months pregnant. Due to her age, she had been extremely pampered by my parents. She still lives at home and is going to move with him maybe 2 months after the baby is born. Then they're going to get married. In my culture, it's normal that a woman who gives birth to move back or stay with her mother, so the mom will help with the baby for the first months. A week ago, my sister's friends made a surprise baby shower. I happened to be at home. I tried to talk to them, but I don't know why. Maybe because my sister and I were close before and I'm sad that we're no longer friends. But her friends acted like I wasn't there and only replied to me with yes, no, or silence, as if I was the one that created this mess. Or I was a homewrecker. Or I tried to seduce my sister's man. I was planning to move already. I was saving money, etc. But after that, I left immediately to a friend's house and now in the process to find my own place. 2 days ago, I received a call from my parents asking me to have a talk. I went to their house and they informed me that the diamond earrings my grandma left me will be given to my sister. Those earrings have been in my family for 4 generations. And before my grandma died, she said the earrings will be mine and my sister will have received a gold necklace. Grandma trusted my parents with the earrings. There was no will or anything. She just asked to give it to me when I was mature enough to appreciate/take care of a family heirloom. Now my parents think that since my sister is getting married first and is having grandma's first great-grandchild, my sister should have it. I'm really mad now. They're robbing me of something my grandma left to me. I don't think my parents are evil. I think they were too worried my sister wouldn't marry due to her age. Which again, in my culture, a single woman in her 40s is something her family worry about. And now that she's forming a family, they want to reward her with everything. But I was the closest to my grandma. She made it clear the earrings will be mine, not my sister's. Not the first one to marry or have a child, but mine. After 2 years of being excluded in favor of my sister, I gave the ultimatum to my parents. They give the earrings to me as my grandma intended, or I will cut them from my life forever. Not gonna lie, the idea of cutting my family off is too painful. But I feel they already made me and still makes me so wrong, I don't want them in my life anymore. I feel a little shallow fighting over this, but those are only things my grandma left me. They're not entitled to them. Now for the top advice before reading the update 5 months later. Wow, your parents and sister have some nerve. OP gets ghosted, and 6 months later older sister is sleeping with her ex? Also, sister thereafter is super defensive about her partner? Who wants to bet she was seeing OP's boyfriend before they broke up, and that's why he ghosted her? OP, for Pete's sake, steal the earrings if you can, and then never talk to any of these people again. Your parents and sister are awful, and they will keep harming you if you allow them to stay in your life. Also, me suspects they only want to give your sister those earrings since she asked for them, knowing they're yet another thing of yours she can take. Oh, that's an excellent point. Sister has asked for the earrings because grandma left them to OP. Wicked woman. Get your hands on those earrings and keep them safe. They're yours and should be in your possession by now. Ask nicely. Then if she doesn't give them up, tell her you will sue. Then do it. Totally sue. They know they're wrong and trying to ask you for permission to feel better. Sue. Your sister stole too much from your life. Record your conversation for court proceedings if needed. Can't really sue. There was no will, just OP's word. But I do agree with A, getting out ASAP, and B, getting the earrings and hiding them somewhere safe. She should record a phone call with her parents in which she asks them repeatedly how they would feel if something their own grandmothers left to them was usurped to give to someone else, while reminding them a few times that they made a promise to grandmother to give them to OP. Now for the update 5 months later. Yes, I got the earrings. After my post, I went to my parents' house, opened a safe, took the earrings and left. Then after that I went again, told my parents I need time to process stuff and be my own self and gave their house keys. Said I was leaving for good. There were some tears from my mom saying she couldn't believe I was such a bitter person. She raised me better. I was turning my back to my family over nothing. And finally, that it was shameful that I would leave the family house without being married or anything. So it was never about me or her loving me or anything, but social pressure to keep an outdated tradition. My dad was very neutral, gave me a hug and wished me luck. For 2 months nothing happened, and I barely have contact with my family. Found a place to live, tried to heal. Have real fun decorating my new home. Your normal stuff. And then everything happened at once. For those 2 months, my sister and mom never reached out to me. Only my dad sent a text once a week asking how I was and wishing I was doing well. And then my sister's boyfriend / future husband / my ex started to follow me on Instagram again. I found it weird, but anyway, after all, he's my sister's boyfriend / father of my niece / future brother-in-law / my ex with benefits. Then he started to like my stories, and then replying to them with heart emojis and looking good. This happened 3 times maybe, when I received a voicemail from my mom, calling all sorts of names for going after a man that I knew was engaged. That this was some kind of revenge over my poor sister. That I was causing her so much stress, her blood pressure level was to the moon. That I was an inconsiderate femme fatale, and that she raised me better. Later I learned through a cousin that my sister took her fiancé's phone and found several conversations with several women, including his attempt to talk to me. So, of course, she went to my mom crying about me trying to steal her fiancé. All messy, to be honest. Less than a week later, another voicemail from my mom asking me where the heck were the earrings. She went looking for them, and when she couldn't find them, deduced it was me. She called me a thief, a disgrace, dishonored me and said they didn't consider me family anymore. I was dead to them, and she will be taking legal actions against me for theft if it was possible. I had no option but to block her and my sister and other family members who sided with them. My dad later texted me to let me know my mom went nuts, but they won't take any legal action. By the end of last month, my cousin texted me saying my sister had given birth to my niece. I know I shouldn't, but I did it. Went to the hospital with a gift while wearing my beautiful and fancy earrings. I was kicked out, of course, but it was worth it. I have no plans to see them ever again. Well, maybe my dad. Also, my cousin, big gossiper that girl, let me know my sister is getting married in May, so she will have her happy ever after all. But I'm also living my best life right now. They are toxic. But legal action for earrings that were yours? I think I mentioned this before, but there wasn't a will. My grandma left it to my parents in good faith until I was old enough. So it was easy to say I stole them. I don't know if it was possible or if they had any legal ground. I know you think your sister may have won in a way by marrying your ex-boyfriend, but know that she's made a mistake of her life. That man has been running around on her this entire time. I guarantee you, and he will never stop doing it. Your sister will spend this entire marriage worrying about him cheating because she will constantly see the signs. OP, you dodged a bullet. Don't think your sister will get her happy ending. If her husband isn't already cheating on her, it's only a matter of time. Glad you got the earrings back. If possible, maybe try and get it in writing from your dad that they acknowledge that your grandma said you were to have the earrings. Maybe to the effect of, I'm glad to hear that you will not be taking legal action, but why did mom want to in the first place? And what has changed her mind? Just thinking, then you might have some evidence of your grandma's wishes to show if you ever did have a legal issue. Also, I sort of empathize. My grandma passed just over a year ago now, and since I was 14, we would have chats about her jewelry and ornaments, as I would clean them and dust them for her. She said to me a few times, right then, my name, tell me which of this you want when I die. Very direct woman she was, and I always loved her eternity ring, as it was of course a very sentimental item. One of our last conversations about it was when she was 101 or 102, and we again talked about what I would like, and she again said she would talk to my mom about it and make sure I got it. Of course, her will didn't mention division of assets, just that everything was to go to my mom, her daughter. So when I asked my mom about the ring Grandma had promised me, my mom said that she hadn't been told to give anything to anyone specifically, and my sister had been over and seen the ring, and she really loved it. Cue about 5 months of my mother refusing to give anything of Grandma's to anyone because she didn't want to pick sides and cause an argument. Red, she favors my sister and didn't want to upset her. Finally, my sister came over and we talked about it. I said my piece about all the times I had spoken to Grandma about it and what Grandma had said. Happier ending than yours, as my sister did say I could have the ring, but the feeling of not being believed and Grandma's promise just being dismissed by my mom was awful. Plus, I felt I was seen as being greedy and materialistic because it is a very valuable piece of jewelry, but when I was younger, I didn't know that. I just loved it as it was what my grandma was given for having my mom and loved the history behind it. I'm glad things ended well between both of you and you got the ring. I also questioned if I was being just greedy and shallow for fighting for it, but it's the meaning behind it what makes it so special. Last story. I found out my daughter is sleeping with my friend who she's known since she was 7. I, 43 female, have a daughter, 22 female, who I'll call Liv. My good friend, who I'll call Adam, 42 male, has known my daughter since she was 7 years old. He would even babysit her for me and my husband, Steven, 46 male. My husband is as disgusted and outraged just as much as I am. I found out 3 weeks ago when my daughter hosted a party to celebrate her birthday. She said she wanted to do one day with her friends and then the next with her family. She even took it upon herself to invite Adam, which confused me because I didn't give her his contact info. I noticed they were awfully close with each other and it even made me uncomfortable. The final straw was when I saw him caress the back of her shoulder, and then I confronted her in private about this. She said that her and Adam had been seeing each other for about 6 months now. I was extremely angry and reminded her that she has known this man since she was a child. She further went on to say she was an adult and could make her own decisions. I stormed out and I cussed out Adam for even thinking this was all right. He fired back saying that she was capable of deciding what she wants. My husband got into the argument, almost causing a fight to break out. My husband and I left feeling ashamed of what had happened. It's now been 3 weeks and my daughter is still refusing to speak to me. I will not forgive Adam because I feel as if I don't truly know how long they have been messing around. For all I know, she may have lied about the 6 months and they could have had this going on since she was underage. The thought of it makes my stomach turn because if it is true, why didn't I notice? Everything was fine before I found this out, and my daughter was a very well-behaved child. I wouldn't have never imagined this. I feel as if I am a bad mother, because what if there were signs she and him were involved while she was still a teenager? I do not know what to do and how to move forward from this. Now for the advice. Oh man, this exact situation happened with my friend's older sister. She started dating her dad's best friend at 21. It was always a touchy thing in their family. Are they still together? No, not anymore, but they were together for years and even got married. It's always sad that the younger girl can't see that the way the older man is treating her is not love. He is willing to destroy her family life and isolate her, is willing to date a 22-year-old at 42 to great disrespect towards her husband being a family friend and not even asking. These are signs of a manipulative person who is seeking to rip her away and take advantage of a vulnerable person with less life experience. Men like him are sneaky, so try not to blame yourself for not seeing. At 22, there's nothing you can do, but try to tell her your wisdom if she'll listen and try to be understanding through it, so she feels comfortable to run to you when he starts to abuse her. Show her my comments on my profile so she can see evil people are out there to hurt others. It was hard for me to believe it until my 30s. I'm not sure myself how long the relationship has been going on, or how he treats her in the relationship. Adam was a really good friend before all this happened, and I never imagined this being a possible outcome. I'm going to take everyone's advice, and I'm going to try to initiate a conversation between my daughter and I. She is a grown adult, and I could have handled the situation in a better way. I will still refuse to speak to Adam because it's clear his moral compass is lost. But for those who tell me to mind my business, it's hard to mind my business when my child is involved with someone 20 years older than her and someone I know personally. I will try to keep an open mind and follow everyone's advice. Thank you. Even though this is a hideous situation, I've been that daughter. And what's really important is that she knows that you're not going to turn your back on her when it falls apart. It will hit her eventually. And even if she doesn't feel like you support her, she needs to know that you're not going to say, "I told you so," or make her feel like it's her fault. She needs to hear that you will always help her if she needs it for any reason. Don't make it specific to this, and that you'll never stop loving her. I know we aren't seeing eye to eye on what's happening right now, but no matter what you choose to do or what happens between us, I need you to know that I love you. And if at any time in your life you need someone, you can always call me day or night, and I'll be there for you. No questions asked. For those replying that it's daughter's fault and she deserves whatever consequences come to her as an adult, look at all of the replies from people who stayed in abusive relationships because they couldn't go to their parents for help. However OP may feel about this, and she's within her right to feel embarrassed or ashamed or whatever, this message is a matter of safety and well-being. You don't want your child to feel like they can't come to you when they need help.